Hello, my name is Howard Knepper and I'm running for the United States Senate as a Republican from Florida. I've been watching the Democratic National... Hello, my name is Howard Knepper and I'm running for the United States Senate as a Republican from Florida. I've been watching the Democratic National Convention just like the rest of the American people. I find it unbelievable that the Democratic Party does not speak about foreign policy. There's a big difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party when it comes to foreign policy. So I want to speak in this video about that. And one of the reasons that I have remained a Republican my entire life is because of the foreign policy issues and the difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party when it comes to keeping America safe. Let's talk about foreign policy for just a minute. For the last 8 years, we haven't had a foreign policy. Senator Clinton and Secretary Clinton, did she really act as a Secretary of State protecting the American people? I don't think so. Senator Warren has to be one of the most dangerous senators when it comes to foreign policy I have ever heard in my entire lifetime. Let's talk about foreign policy. Let's talk about, not too long ago, the President of the United States spoke about Syria. 300,000 people have been killed in a civil war in Syria. The President of the United States spoke to the American people, if you can remember, not too long ago, that the people that were gassed, the children were laying on the hospital floors. He told us and reminded us to look at those pictures of chemical warfare. But he said that we would deliver to Syria a message that no other country could deliver. We all hoped that that would happen, but it didn't happen, because at the end of his speech, he said that he was turning towards Russia, who was the biggest ally of Syria, to let Russia handle it. Today in Syria, we have hundreds of thousands of people still being killed. We have a dictator, Assad, who still remains in power and still causes a problem with ISIS in that region. Secondly, we have Russia. Russia looks at the United States foreign policy and continues to move forward with aggression. This can't be tolerated. We then have the Iran deal. The money that was given to Iran in that deal was absurd. It was absolutely the worst foreign policy decision, one of the worst in U.S. history. We have North Korea, who is testing their missiles with our ally right next door, South Korea. North Korea is one of the worst regimes in history. They execute 30,000 people at will or more, their own citizens. If you look at North Korea's history, you will see how devastating that regime really is to its own people. We have China. China, when it comes to foreign policy, and the United States. We don't have a foreign policy when it comes to China. We have the greatest military in the world. And yes, there needs to be some improvements in that military. But the fact is that this administration and the Democrats don't get it. Now, Donald Trump and Governor Pence, they get it. When it comes to foreign policy, we must be the leader of the world. Sure, we have many ideals that we agree with the Democratic Party. But when it comes to foreign policy, there's a big difference. Again, I'm going to mention President Nixon and Henry Kissinger, his Secretary of State. It was very clearly stated by President Nixon that the United States must be the leader of the world. If we are the leader of the world, we will have less wars, less starvation, less conflicts. But if we are not the leader of the world, we will have what we see now. We will see devastation around the world, and we will see our interests being threatened. I want you to know that as a Republican, I, for one, like many Republicans, we share the same ideals of the Democratic Party. But when it comes to foreign policy, There's absolutely a total separation. Senator Warren, her comments, go back and look at them, were totally irresponsible. And I don't understand whether she understands that there is no foreign policy from the Democratic side. I hope that you will look very closely and understand the seriousness of having a strong foreign policy to protect American interests and to protect you and your families. You will not get it from the Democratic side. You won't get it. For 8 years, look at the absolute total disaster we have around the world. But help is on the way. Donald Trump, I don't agree with every issue that he has with his views. And I don't agree with Governor Pence in some of his views, especially when it comes to gays and bisexuals and transsexuals. Everyone has a right to live their life. And Governor Pence, what he signed in Indiana as a law, I don't agree with that. But I do believe that Donald Trump and Governor Pence will have a strong foreign policy, and with the Senate and the House of Representatives, they will get the help that they need and the guidance that they need to lead this country once again in being the leader of the world. And then there will be a change around the world. Thank you for watching this video.